Greetings, everyone. Greetings, Frank. An
Greetings,
honor
Alex.
once again to be with you for the review of PT's book. We were
Yes.
just talking together before, not to make that too formal.
Right.
Like, we were talking for like 10 minutes. Now
Yes.
that's just a continuum of that. But yeah, Frank, I'm very fortunate, of course, to be doing this with you. And it's a nice fall day.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
getting a little colder here also, like 3 degree Celsius today. So
Right.
it's
Yeah. They have some projected cool fronts coming in up this way. It's supposed to be like
yeah,
40 next week.
cool front and storms and hurricanes.
There's so much that has been happening.
So much happening down there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Frank, today we're gonna start with the consequence. I think I have the French one in front of me. It's the same word, consequence, consequence. And
Yes.
I'll let you go on with that, and we'll exchange on it as we go on.
Yes. Sounds good.
Good.
Consequences. Most people do what they do only because they simply do not know the consequences of what they do. If they did know the concentric sequences that follow, most would not do the deeds they do. That's why knowledge of consequences is the real knowledge, the real seeing of seers.
En français. Conséquence. La plupart font ce qu'ils font seulement car ils ne connaissent pas les conséquences de ce qu'ils font. S'ils connaissaient les séquences concentriques qui suivent, la plupart ne feraient pas les actions qu'ils font. C'est pourquoi la connaissance des conséquences est la vraie connaissance, la vraie voyance des voyants. And I was just talking about that kind of stuff with Kim. I think it's yesterday, and we were reasoning about the fact that people don't really know that they are committing a crime. You know, we are all committing the biggest crime against humanity, and it's going around pretending
Yeah.
that you know anything here, that you know what to do with your body, with the earth, with the animals, with everything.
Right.
The whole pretense is the biggest crime because everything stems from there. Everything, woo, it's like a cascade
Yeah.
of cascade chaos
Yes.
follows that. So,
Right.
but now, can you not blame people for not knowing the consequences? Like what I'm saying is, okay, they're not to blame because they don't know. They
Right.
don't like. Can we excuse them because they don't know? Like, are you innocent because you don't know? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do. I
are
do know
you
what you're saying.
not
Yeah.
gonna send someone to prison because they have committed a crime, but
Right.
because they don't know they have committed a crime? What, you're not sending them?
Right. Yeah. It's like the rules of the multiverse are still in place whether you know them or not, right? So if you don't know that your hand is going to get burned, you stick it in the fire. Just because you don't know it's going to burn doesn't mean you're not going to get burned. You will, and but there's so much disconnection between action and consequence these days that and that's part of the Vedic viewpoint of things. We're in the age of Kali Yuga. So
Yeah,
this is the age of ignorance, right? And that's what they call not knowing is ignorance,
yeah,
right? So when you act out of not knowing, even if you don't know that you know, or if you choose to not know, right? Because you can just like be like, okay, I know that I don't know, but I'm not going to try to find out either. Because I mean, there's very obvious things in like the world, the society, like things that have happened that should give us pointers or clues like, hey, wait, something's not right, like there was a particular event that happened in the early 2000s in which there were two big buildings in a big city in America that collapsed.
yeah,
Some people are still like, if you bring up any counter story as to what the narrative says, they will say, that's just a conspiracy or whatever, because there's big pointers that are saying, hey, wait, things actually aren't the way that they're being projected to be. So because that's a very big starting point, and it was, and it is for many, to say, well, wait, if these facts about that event and what they're saying, there's things that don't add up, then what about everything else? Our health system, our government system, our school system. What about what they're saying about how life goes and what we should be doing and things like that? Because if you just go by the book with what you are given in school and things like that, you'll find yourself in this state of ignorance that we're talking about. If you go by their dietary system, if you go by their, so many different things like that, the consequences will come, even though you thought you were doing right. So, and it's not out of, it's not like God or the divine force that is operating everything here wants everyone to be in misery or pain, but there's just a certain set of like rules and functionings that are inherent here, and that part of our job in evolving ourselves and things like that is to seek what is the truth and to seek what is the way to live. And then you will come to know, if you really are sincere in that seeking and in trying to find the answers, things will start to come to you. And it's, just like they say, things aren't, how do they say it? Like things aren't what they seem, or like, whatever, right? So
nothing is what it seems.
Yeah, exactly. So, and this P-log is really interesting consequences, because it really does, when we can actually start to look at the, like P says, I love how he poetically said this. If they did know the concentric sequences that follow what they do, they wouldn't do what they're doing. So everything's like an onion, like the middle layer of the onion is your choices and what you're making, and the outer layers of the onion is like the consequences and what's happening in your life that follows what you are doing, what you're going by. So that's part of the things we have to just like admit we don't know, and then be willing to start from scratch.
And life is a bit like an onion too. You better peel one layer at a time if you don't want to cry. So
yeah, right.
Go one day at a time, one layer at a time. If not, so for sure, when we look at the immensity of life and hurt and the whole realm, and it can be overwhelming and say, okay, why would there be consequences to what I'm gonna do? There's billions others maybe like me, or there's animals killing. So you go into this, and I don't know, you just justify your nonsense with some kind of other nonsense, maybe.
Right. Yeah. The excuses don't override the multiversal law. You know what I mean?
That's what. Yeah, exactly. So whether you say, okay, there will be consequences, and ignorance does have a cost.
Yes.
We know that, and you will soon find out if you don't go get the knowledge you need to get, especially taking care of your body. Our body is the most utmost temple. You will always, like, this is the temple where you should go in and pray yourself.
Right.
So, we seek outside of ourselves, and so we end up in unfractal buildings and shit. So yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So next, Frank, is a principal operating system. I would like to look at this one. It's
principal
life
operating.
is but a joke.
That's how so many do, man. Principal operating system. Life is but a joke is the principal operating system of most on this planet. Of course, some beings stick to their principle more than others, thus, only some are on the front line. Whether on the front line or back line, there has to be a conscious decision to fully uninstall the principal operating system and properly install a new future-centric one. Life is serious business with serious consequences.
Le système de fonctionnement principal. La vie n'est rien qu'une blague. Elle est le système de fonctionnement principal de la plupart des gens sur cette planète. Bien sûr, certains êtres s'en tiennent à leurs principes plus que d'autres. Par conséquent, seulement certains se trouvent à l'avant. Que l'on soit à l'avant ou à l'arrière, il doit y avoir une décision consciente de pleinement désinstaller le système de fonctionnement principal et proprement en installer un nouveau qui est centré autour du futur. La vie est une affaire sérieuse avec des conséquences sérieuses. And that you will find out. There is serious consequences to your all the stuff you're avoiding. All because you prefer look. Just one thing that what is that thing with the shades with the I don't get it. Why put like I get it if you have eye issue or stuff, but why people go around with shades with sunglasses? Like the sun is there shining on us like crazy. Okay, you don't look directly at the sun, I get it.
Right.
But there's something very beneficial with the sun rays. I think we can all perceive that. We're all human. We all feel the heat and stuff. We feel the beneficial effect of the sun.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what is that thing, to go around and avoid all these divine stuff that we have around. So life is but a joke. So I go out, the sun is shining, I put sunglasses.
Right.
I don't fucking get it.
It just seems very symbolic for like, okay, I choose to not see. Right?
Yeah.
I choose to be ignorant. So I'm just going
I choose to live in the dark.
I'm going to cover my eyes and, yeah.
Anyway. So, for many, I think the goal is to really uninstall all that programming, all that stuff, the sunglasses, the lawnmower that makes noise. I'm going to come back with this one again. All that stuff that doesn't make sense has to go if you want to be able to feel that new operating system.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, it's good to say, okay, I'm going to install something new within me, but you really have to do it. You really have to let go of a lot of stuff you hold on to, beliefs that you think are set in stone, but you realize that it's just fantasy.
Right.
Like many of the stuff I realize in my life is just pure fantasy fiction. Why entertain that? Why even entertain it?
Exactly.
So I prefer entertain the sun and the sun shining and on me, and that's it, than listening to all kinds of nonsense that I have around me just to form that operating system inside me. So I fall in line with everyone in front of me, because that's what the operating system is they want you to fall in line. Look at Costco. I saw a video the other day at Costco, the lines that people do to pay. It is complete sickness. It's crazy. I can't even imagine waiting that much in line to pay for fucking toilet paper.
Oh my gosh.
Most stuff they have in their baskets in Costco, honestly, the 90% of the stuff in there is pure junk.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. I don't get it why you waste so much time, but you have time to waste because you don't value your time here on Earth. So you go waste it around and stuff. And that's what this operating system is going to make you do. It's going to make you do stuff like that just to fall in line.
Yes.
So Costco was just an example. You can go to Target, to freaking Walmart, to anywhere. At the street lights, you wait in line in traffic, you wait. And that is bad design, trust me.
Yeah. Yeah, whenever they have something, right, that you buy and they make it cheaply so that it'll break, so you have to buy a new one, they call that planned obsolescence, right? And this operating system that they have is created with that function, like planned obsolescence, so that you end up running into walls over and over and over again. And you keep
The operating system could be called consuming also, because as long as you consume, the system goes on.
yeah,
It's a wheel. So no consumer, everything stops. So as long as you consume, consume,
exactly.
consume.
And this thing, life is but a joke. I mean, we see that is so much of how, you know, the pop stars and everything, and so many of the movies and the ways that we are basically trained to behave, and things that we're trained to emulate and repeat, whatever things that have out there is I mean, I was just thinking of, so an older pop music, right? That band, the Talking Heads.
Yeah.
Their most famous album, I'm pretty sure, is called Stop Making Sense, right? And that's what's happening out here. People aren't making sense. And so what's going to happen, And then so cool that Pete can see that. I mean, it's not hard to see in a sense, but to be able to implement the steps that are necessary to have this perspective of life is serious business with serious consequences. So actually, we do need to take care of like how we're going to eat. We do need to take care of the things that we're going to say, the place that we choose to put our attention, the actions that we want to do, the beings that we want to be around, because it all has an influence on our vibe, our consciousness, our choices, and things like that. So
But
to have somebody like P is really great, because he has this this really like penetrating insight that can just show you like, actually, it's not that hard to be able to start getting yourself centered and really start becoming more natural. But there's just certain things you got to cut out and certain things to implement, just some centering practices, cut out all the nonsense, and just actually take life seriously, So,
but if we're not, like the other day, I was sitting in my car waiting for Kim after work and go pick her
right,
up, and it's near a daycare. She works in a daycare, so
right,
there's kids around, and I'm looking at the kids playing and stuff, and the neighbor kids in front, and all we do when we're young is we play.
Mhm.
We just play.
Yeah,
Like on fait juste jouer. We play all our lives. So, and that's, I think if no one comes and show us when we're young that there's something else than just wasting your time playing games,
yeah,
you will be playing games all your life and missing the biggest game of all, the divine game. And
yeah,
that's what we miss, the divine game, the real reason why we're here. So as we start young, we just like zombies around. Kids are just like zombies going around playing with nonsense
yeah,
plastic toys or whatever uh, machine they can put their hands on to minimize their effort, like a trottinette. Like, I see those trottinettes electric, electric scooter or whatever.
right,
Anything that's electric, anything that they don't have to make effort. The parents bring it to them and stuff. And
right.
so it's really, I think, an effort from the parent in the first place to show the child. The
Yeah,
child has to be shown. If we don't show children, if you don't tell children the truth, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to pick up the lie.
yeah,
That's what everyone picks up,
exactly.
living the lie. So
And
if you
that's why
don't teach
parent
children,
parenthood is such an enormous task that people
oh,
don't consider, actually, like what you're doing whenever you're bringing kids into this world. I mean, I know, and also, because we're both have children, And
Three.
if you actually want to have children to get a real education, I mean, it's up to you, because nobody else is going to do it. I mean, P is here showing these things, but even you have to, hope that the kids aren't going to fall victim to all the nonsense that's here, which most likely they will, at least for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So until a lot of times we have to learn the hard way, and we have to actually crash and burn a few times before we can really.
But I think if we start young with children, teaching them that they can learn something, that they should have a good learning attitude, but this takes a massive, massive effort from the parent.
It really does.
Massive dedication, because you're totally for the children, not for yourself anymore. Like when you
Right.
have children, you forget about yourself a bit, because you have to live for them, you have to work, you have to provide, you have to. So it's a big, big responsibility that we take even half of it, not even a quarter of it, not even an eighth of the responsibility with our children. The rest is the state. So let's not go too far here. The state takes the responsibility, because we're very irresponsible ourselves. We're not going to go down there today, but what I was talking about, the operating system. No, what were we talking?
Yeah, well,
operating system. That's it.
I mean, just as far as like parenthood and like P says, the lack of education in the world today is what is creating so much ignorance and this attitude of life is but a joke, because that is what you're being taught all the time. But yeah, if we could actually implement like the things that P was talking about, like I was listening to UMP's series right before that big storm happened in Asheville, the one that's the most recent one that y'all did, where you were talking about the arts, science and the arts and everything. And he was talking about, he's like, you don't see Addiction Center. Where is their Addiction Center that's teaching people how to speak and what to say? Because people don't know what to say, actually, because they might want to be saying all these new age type of affirmations, or even other things that might, they think might make sense. But when you take the right approach and you start speaking the right things, it really can change your directive. And so if we start having the right type of infrastructure as far as like what's going to give people and children the education that they need, then actually like that work and that play can start to be doing what we need to actually, because we all have to work, whether it's to take care of our bodies or to provide what we need as far as like food and things like shelter and all that, and then we have to work for our spiritual.
And let's not forget, Frank, that love is about evolvement. So if you love someone, you want them to evolve. So if you love someone, you don't feed them Fruit Loops.
Yes, exactly right.
Okay, now you can imagine the rest, where I'm going to go with this.
Yeah, because you have a being who's been used to eating Fruit Loops, and they're going to freak out if you don't give them Fruit Loops. But what you have to do is say, okay, well, I've done things wrong for a long time, and we have to rebuild. We have to break down the structure that has been, which is life is but a joke, and we have to start to rebuild brick by brick, one step at a time. Life is serious business with serious consequences.
And also, we see life as we are. I live in Canada, you live in US. So a bit, our perspective on life is as we are. We're trying to change this to see the world as it is. Me and Frank, totally, because we have seen the world as we are for a long time. Now we want to see the world as it is. We focus on this. But if you are stuck in that realm of perspective that you only see the world as you are, you're not going to evolve here. So there's other places in the world where they're not so intoxicated with Fruit Loops. I take Fruit Loops as an example because to me they are really, really toxic. I look at
all
them,
the colors.
just a box that put me off. But anyway, So there is countries, like in Europe, they don't allow certain food dyes and shit in the product. They're much more strict with their food product. Not that they are top notch. It's not what I'm saying,
Right.
but they are more strict. They are a little bit more awareness than here in America. Canada, US is the same food,
Mhm.
same nonsense, same. It's not because you cross the border in Canada that it's a different country. Same as US. I've
Yeah.
been to US and I know
Yeah.
what it is, and
Yeah.
it's the same. Canada, US, the same mentality almost. Same.
Right.
Uh, there's not much difference because we're on the same patch of land. It's just a
Yes.
big patch,
Exactly.
but that's it. But if we look at the world as it is, we will realize that it's much more than what we are.
Yeah.
And it's so big, so vast, so much to explore that we should really, really leave that operating system and
Yeah.
explore different facets of ourselves. First of all, of yourself. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not talking about exploring the world, explore your inner self.
Right. And
You
the
have lots to
example,
offer. Everyone has lots to offer.
yeah, and the example of Fruit Loops being a choice of ignorance. I mean that the 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 Fruit Loop choices of our life and what we're been
Yeah.
have been shown is all over. And it's not only in food. You know, we choose to see the world in a way that it's not. You know, and we choose to see the world as this floating ball in space that has water sticking to it, and whatever, right? But that is the Fruit Loops that they have fed you. You know,
Yeah.
so time to put the Fruit Loops away. you know.
Good point, Frank.
Yeah.
Like that. Fruit
So
Loops. So anyway, we gotta stick to the fact for this one.
yeah,
Next is the fact. The lawnmower and the Fruit Loops. You're gonna hear it a lot here.
exactly right. The fact. People have a habit of projecting their notions and part knowledge as facts, but in reality, they don't know a single fact worth knowing. A real fact is one which helps get one out of hell and break out of the 3D matrix. If only they could admit they don't really know any fact, they could at least begin on the path of learning facts.
Wow. This is big.
Yeah.
This is big because it's not even about truth, or it's about fact. That's what
Yeah.
it is. It's fact. I've called it, I think I did a series with PT, was factual truths or
Right.
something. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
myths,
it.
truths. Yeah.
Le fait. Le fait en français, c'est le fait. Les gens ont une habitude de projeter leurs notions et leurs connaissances partielles comme des faits, mais en réalité, ils ne connaissent pas un seul fait valant la peine d'être connu. Un vrai fait est un fait qui aide une personne à sortir de l'enfer et à sortir de la matrice 3D. Si seulement ils pouvaient admettre qu'ils ne connaissent pas un seul fait, ils pourraient au moins commencer sur la voie de l'apprentissage des faits. And this is the biggest, that's your starting point. I don't think there's much to say here about that. It's a fact. Look, it's a fact is a fact. Can't argue a fact.
Right.
If you don't let go, you will never evolve. So you have to start letting go of what you think you know if
Yeah.
you want to learn something real. And even that, I don't, I've learned what I have learned. I don't know the sun, what it is. I don't know the clouds.
Right.
Everything is still mysterious, still very mysterious. But I have learned that there's a bunch of lies out there and a bunch of liars that are trying to manipulate my soul and my being and
Yeah.
try to bring me in the dark and stay in the dark and live in the dark when I want to live in the light, the sun, the
Right.
one in the sky. But yeah, that's me going on with facts. But a fact is a fact. It's only there's only one way to put it. If you don't let go, you will never learn.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to admit, like we did admit before, admit to the fact that you don't know.
Yeah,
What? It's the end of the world? No, you will grow. You will evolve. If you
exactly.
start admitting that you're a freak. Me, I go on sometime. I have bad words coming out my mouth for those muggles. I have to stop. It's not good.
Right,
It's
right.
not, I know it's not good for me to demonize or to other people because they don't know or they. I have to stop this. I know it's not healthy, but often there's words coming out my mouth to describe them that are really, yeah, negative. So I should stop. And I was gonna say it here. That's why. Oh, stop it. So yeah, so it's a fact. So Frank, what do you think about the fact?
Yeah. Well, there is so much, like P's saying that, so many people project their notions or their part knowledge as facts. But I mean, I love how P's just talking about what are actual facts worth knowing, and that's what those are things that empower you to actually take control of yourself. Because like P has stated, and what you were kind of referring to, is that you know, having to change and actually operate by facts is it's not going to hurt you. You might have to change. The only thing that's going to hurt is your ego, right? And
Exact.
that's the biggest hurdle
But that's
for
good.
so
Good
many
hurt.
people. Yeah, exactly. Because what is ego? Ego is only our sense of false knowing, operating by something that we think is real, but it's actually not, and has been uh, put there by the system and the society. And we've also chosen to go along with their story and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's not like we're a victim.
No.
Oh, everything's been put on me, and I'm such whatever. No, you actually have to take accountability and say, hey, I chose to go along with their story. I had the option, although, I might not have had.
See it
Right.
because I didn't see the option back then that like there was something else. I didn't see it.
Yeah. But at the same time, like P says, he's like, when you're born, you are given, your senses are there for a reason. So you can observe, you can see,
Exact.
and so you're given that ability to perceive the world. And so if the structure that we are living under at this point, like the government and things like that, are going to play that game of emperor has no clothes. If anybody's familiar with that story, and just
Yeah.
pretend and all this kind of stuff and say, oh, the world is this way, even though you can look directly at this thing and see, well, it's not how you're saying it. So why are we doing what you're talking about? Like as far as the referencing that story, the emperor has no clothes or whatever, right? We have to admit, how wrong things have gone with, people's health, right? People are getting sick because they're, not uh, able to feed themselves in a healthy way. I mean, like all the stuff that's happening right now, fast food, all the different types of chemicals that are in foods. I mean, that stuff should be illegal. It shouldn't be allowed,
Diet Pepsi should be legal.
right? So, but at this time, it's allowed because partially, it's like we're in the age of ignorance. We're in the age of darkness, so you really can't see what's what. So that's why having the truth, which is akin to the light, the truth can shine the light so that we can actually see what's going on around us, what we are, who we are. And by having that power of insight and the power of that light, we can actually uh, see where we can go and not be bumping into all these different obstacles.
And we're really blind to the light because all our life we see the sun in the sky like
Yeah.
it's shining so bright. Like what, you don't see it, you don't notice it moves in the sky, and maybe
Right.
you're not moving.
Uh-huh.
Like no, 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 totally not. The light is like all our life we have the light shining in our face,
Right.
but we try to avoid it the most possible with sunglasses, with all kinds of device, staying inside. Your life should be 90% of the time happening outside. You should not. You should be in your home to sleep and eat, and that's about it.
Right.
The rest of the time, you should be out. But we have come to be so denurtured that all this natural stuff being out and seeing the light and forget about it. Now it's the dark, and we love the dark, and we watch dark movies and dark news and dark web and
Right.
bring it on. Like everything dark goes on. The show must go on. But
Right.
when you start talking about light and divine principles and divine laws and or synchronicity and magic and cosmic stuff and entities and crop circles
Right.
and all the mysterious stuff that you can imagine. Oh no, that's out the door because
Yeah.
we've not been trained for that. We've been trained for the dark. So everything that's light goes. So that's why when you go to someone and you start elaborating on your state of mind, if you're really on the side of the light, and you elaborate your state of mind to someone that's navigating in the dark, you waste your time. You waste your time. They have to do that effort themselves to move out of that darkness and really bask in enjoy the shining light and the anyway. And the words, like you said before, the words will come to you. Everything you need to know, everything you need to learn, it's all gonna come to you in due time. You will never be given something you cannot handle. If I'm here, it's because I can handle it, and I know that, and I have that inner fortitude that I know it. That if I'm here, it's because I can. The divine will not give you something you cannot handle.
Right.
That's for sure. So if it comes your way, go for it. Go for it. It's for you. It's you. It's your thing. Share it with the world. You're gonna make a huge, once you make that shift, once you share your gift, once you discover that gift within yourself and you share it with the world, that's where you're gonna make a shift.
Yeah.
Within yourself. You share that gift. That's what's important. The world wants to see your gift. I like to see gifted people. We're all gifted with something. I want to see what's your gift. Because that's what makes this world so beautiful, so organized, so self-sufficient together in community again. Self-sufficient alone, I don't buy that. But we can be a great community together if we face the fact.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like showing what each person has to give is seeing the best when we can all acknowledge our connection with divine, our connection with nature, because that is where we get everything. That is the source, right? And so we can't live disconnected from that, or in a world pretending that it's not there or something like that, because then you're just going to look like a fool, and that's we've all been made to look like a fool. Because we've chosen to be disconnected,
Terrible.
But
the time we have wasted on nonsense in our life. The time I've wasted on nonsense in my life.
I know, right?
Astronomical, the amount. You wouldn't even, and I see every day, like, what's the point of shining your freaking car twice a week, 3 times a week? Like, I haven't even done it once this summer. I haven't even washed my car.
The rain washes the car,
Then wash my car. The rain will take care of it.
Exactly.
All these stuff I don't get. It's sunny. It's beautiful outside. For sure, I'm on my bike today. Bye-bye. I'm gone. In nature, on my bike. Because I like it. I like to move. I like losing weight. Everything is good about it. I'm in nature. I'm alone. There's no muggle around, no one on the road. I don't like driving cars. You want to know? I don't like driving cars because there's too much traffic, too much people. It's stressful. Driving a car is really not my favorite thing. I'll do it if I have to.
Yeah.
But bicycle, anything that promotes like moving, but that's what and as we get older, we fall into this trap of non-moving because Aging is the aggressive pursuit of comfort. Think about that. As aggressive as you're going to be pursuing comfort, that's how you're going to age.
Right.
Look, I'm
And then we have to
51.
put into context what is actually real comfort. Because if we're pursuing actual comfort, which is aligning, like we can only experience like what real comfort or what real pleasure is by aligning with nature and by aligning with the laws, and not just trying to get some new couch or lazy boy like
Or
whatever.
car or
Yeah.
this, or like you think you're all cool with your car. You're sitting, you're not even moving, you're getting fat, you're unhealthy, you're not promoting health, your windows are shut because you need
Right.
air conditioning in your car. You
Right.
freaking muggle.
You're hot boxing your car, filling it with the smoke.
Get that. I've reached my limit.
Oh, right. Oh, man.
No, but anyway, we're just having a bit of here. I'm not like I'm not judgmental on people. I don't want people to think I go around and judge everyone. I'm just
Right.
stating a fact that we live in a
Yeah, and
muggle world, and if you
once
can't
you-
see it, well,
Yeah, once you have some eyes and you can actually start utilizing your perception to energize yourself to do the right thing, then it really becomes clear. I mean, it's like that movie They Live, where the guy puts the glasses on and he can actually see what's happening, you know? So when we can put the lens of like having evolution at the core of why we're here, and if we can take the actions to evolve ourselves, there's a lot of traps we can avoid, whether it's through our diet, whether it's through getting involved with politics or all this fake government and all this kind of stuff that's going on. You know, all that stuff is just a circus. You know, it's a clown show. So,
but also the biggest trap is you. You are your own worst enemy, and that's why the word enemy has the word me in it, because
yeah, enemies.
it is you are gonna sabotage yourself before any government, any entities, anybody around you, any family. You will destroy yourself before anyone else around.
Yeah,
So be aware of that fact, because you are probably doing it right now, like all of us. But it's to put an end to that nonsense, an end to that destroying stuff, that destroying. Metallica had a song, Seek and Destroy. I think
right.
I know why now. Seek and destroy, because that's what we do. We seek to destroy.
Yeah.
I don't know what was the lyrics to the song.
Yeah, right.
I would have to go back to that. But seek and destroy. We seem to seek and destroy, not seek and find. We seem to seek and destroy most of the time in our lives. So I'm just saying, like, time to put an end to this, people.
Yeah.
People of the earth, please listen. Frank, next, Stairway to Heaven. Now we're gonna do the three next one together, because they're on the same page, really, and they're pretty short, and they go pretty much together. Stairway to Heaven, sticking to facts and facts.
Facts.
So
Okay,
I'll
yes.
let you
Yeah.
start.
So the first of the three, Stairway to Heaven. Only real stairway to heaven is the stairway of facts. The second on the page, sticking to facts. With facts, just perceiving them is not good enough. Sticking to them in speech and action is much more important. And the third on the page, facts. Facts, real spelling, PH, acts, facts. So acts done as per P, the axis that sees it all for what it is.
L'escalier vers le paradis. L'unique vrai escalier vers le paradis est l'escalier des faits. Like, you want to go on the stairway to heaven? Start facing fact.
Yes.
Simple.
Mhm.
S'en tenir aux faits. Avec les faits, seulement les percevoir ne suffit pas. S'en tenir aux faits dans les paroles et dans ses actions est bien plus important. Troisième, les faits. Faits, F-A-I-T-S. Vraie épellation avec un PH-axe. PH-axe. And also I see like a balance act in there.
Yeah, right.
Like, no? Fait que balance act, dont les actions qui sont faites en accord avec P, l'axe, qui voit tout le multivers pour ce qu'il est. Yeah, the facts are the facts, and that's something that often people don't really argue facts because they don't know the facts.
Yeah.
So they argue nonsense. But the fact cannot be argued. I have 5 fingers. Can you argue this? It's a fact.
Right.
There's 5. You gonna tell me I have 4? No, there's 5. So a fact and 5 viewers at the same time I say that. So a fact is a fact. You cannot argue that. But people are unaware of fact. So that's why they go and gossip and talk nonsense and entertain muggle talks and stuff and gossip about others because they have no clue of what the actual facts are often.
Yeah.
And that was my experience. Don't get me wrong here. Everything I talk about, I have experienced it. I will not talk about stuff I haven't experienced here.
Right.
And I have 51-year experience on this earth, so I have a little bit of trotting. So that's it.
Yes.
So that's it, Frank. I
Yeah.
think it's very sticking to facts and action and speech is of utmost importance if you want to take that stairway to heaven. And that stairway to heaven is here on earth, like
Yeah.
here on earth. You want to live in hell or you want to live in negativity or positivity? I'll put it with this word because
Right.
often, for sure, there will be negativity, probably in the equal amount of positivity in your life. Who knows? Maybe it's got to balance each other. Who knows? But I think we can, with a deliberate effort, really focus on the positive and bring more positive than negative if we focus. If we go with the operating system, it's going to be a balance of negative, positive. But I think if we deliberately involve ourselves into the process, we can be more positive than negative. Definitely,
Yes.
because look at the world around. I have a smile on my face all day long. I look at the blade of grass and I have a smile on my face. So it's facts.
Yeah.
So Frank, give me your.
Yeah. These 3 P-logs are very factual, very, very good to hear these things. And I really appreciate this. I mean, all of them. This top one here, Stairway to Heaven. Only real stairway to heaven is the stairway of facts. And if we can, so as we begin to learn, as we begin to remove our principal operating system, the way that we lived in the past, and as we implement the new principal operating system of trying to live by facts, trying to stick to facts, trying to actually have care and concern with the actions that we take. So what we're doing, if we live by facts, is that each time that we're able to successfully live by facts, we are building a stair, right? We're building a stair that we could, okay, I'm going to take these actions. I'm going to eat properly. I'm going to center myself. I'm going to connect with the elements in nature with gratitude and reverence. Okay, so now I stand on that step because I can live that way. So as I do that more and more, I can build a higher step. Okay, I can perceive more because I'm actually starting to live life in a way that's in accordance with the divine laws and the divine plan. So the longer we can have that momentum, we are, with our actions, building stairs to a higher consciousness, to a higher perspective. And we can actually see things more clearly. And it's actually a more pleasurable, a more heavenly way of being when we can live in accordance with divine law and facts and things like that, because we're not in this place of why is this happening to me, or you're not going to have this victim mentality or any of those kind of things, because each one of us can only control ourselves. We can only control the actions that we do. So as we refine our own actions and try to be more continuous with the right things that we're supposed to be doing, we actually can live a more pleasurable, actual real comfort, where we're not creating a painful situation for ourselves out of ignorance. And so, yeah, that
Like
scary something.
this, what we're doing, Frank, is comfortable for me. I'm not nervous. I'm not stressed out. I'm very much in a great place doing this. So
Yeah, right. And so, those places where there is an edge, where, because at a certain point, where was our comfort level, because there was a certain point, right, in which I was like, I've eaten meat for a long time, but I think I need to leave that now, because that was something that I was used to. But then I realized, what, that might not be actually what's the best for my consciousness, my spirit, my body, and the earth also. And so I had to make that decision and say, hey, I've been comfortable, and all the people that are around me are comfortable living in an ignorant way, choosing to not really make that healthy of choices with their food. But you know what? I need to make that boundary for myself, And so it might not be that comfortable at first, but once you start doing it and learning about how to cook for yourself, how do you feed yourself in a positive and nutritious kind of way, then it becomes, it's like riding a bike, once you know how to ride a bike, then oh yeah. And I mean, I feel like the big thing with changing your diet and being able to stick to it is learning how to eat when you travel, because that's oftentimes when you're not in your comfort zone, when you're not in your home, then your boundaries can get more like, what do I do?
yeah.
Am I just going to eat what am I going to like? And so learning how to eat when you travel and things like that, those are all these little tests that you have, because even though, like you said, the divine won't give you something that you can't handle, you will also be tested, because, and sometimes you'll fail. And that's an instance in which you can learn. Okay, well, I was given this scenario and I wasn't able to fulfill it, but you can look back, say, what did I do? How can I fix that? What's going to be my action plan for the next time that I might face that situation,
What I think is the divine puts many temptation here on earth for us.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
like your parents. It's like your parents. When you're young, they might put candies or temptation around and just to test if you're gonna fall for it or whatever. But that's a bit what the divine does, and that's how he sees who's serious wanting to play the game with him.
right.
Because there's not a billion souls on earth that are in divine presence, awake and ready for facts. Like most are live in a fiction world, and they have no idea what this realm is all about. So it's very confusing. The whole thing is very confusing. But I think if you align, like we said, with sticking to facts and stuff, you can easily navigate through those troubled waters. Definitely.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So the next one we'll maybe finish with that today is
Yeah.
the one and only disease. It's a good
Yes.
one too.
Yeah,
They're all good.
exactly. The one and only disease. On the surface, there appear to be many diseases plaguing beings on this planet. LotusOcean, however, sees only one disease, which is not being able to state the obvious truth. People lie to each other about each other's state every day, trillions of times. Straightforward speaking out of obvious perception is looked down upon like a cardinal sin. Petty egos have to be saved blushes at all costs. This vow of never speaking the truth leads to a real dis-ease within the self and then the world. If people just practiced speaking what is as is without crazy agendas, all diseases are sure to disappear. Evil was only born from not wanting to speak of the obvious divinity of divine.
That's big. That's big. La seule et l'unique maladie. À première vue, on dirait qu'il y a beaucoup de maladies qui pestent les êtres de cette planète. Cependant, LotusOcean ne voit seulement qu'une seule maladie qui est ne pas être capable de dire l'évidente vérité. Les gens se mentent en eux concernant leur état tous les jours des trillions de fois. parler franchement et d'un point de vue découlant de la perception d'une évidence, est méprisé comme un péché capital. Les égaux mesquins doivent être sauvés à tout prix. Ce vœu de ne jamais dire la vérité mène à la vraie maladie dans le souhait et puis dans le monde. Et si les gens s'entraînaient seulement à parler de ce qui est pour ce que c'est, sans agenda de fou, toutes les maladies sont sûres de disparaître. Le mal est né uniquement du fait de ne pas vouloir parler de l'évidente divinité du divin. And that is so big because that's what we avoid. Eh? My dog's barking. I don't know if you hear her. My wife is getting back home. But yeah, it's really something. It's the only disease in this world is not capable to state the obvious truth. And even sometimes, like something very, very obvious, like the sun moving in the sky. No, we still pretend that it's not some kind of story, fable from Babylon about the sun and this, and we believe like we can use our own eyes and look. We can do our own observation. You don't need a book to tell you what are the stars and this and that. You can take your own eyes and look at it, the moon and stuff, and you can do your own observation of what's going on Earth too, not only up in the sky. You are on Earth, on this plane, and you're not gonna fly in the star anytime soon, probably. So you better focus on what's going on Earth and factual truths and stuff to be able to move out of this negativity that we all live in. And you can pretend you don't. Pretend you don't as much as you want.
Yeah.
But we all live in the dark until we start seeing the light and embracing the light and living in the light. And I'm not afraid to talk about the light because that's what it is. It's what it is. We live in the look, it's sunny. But there's no light. There is light. There is dark. There is nighttime. But there is much more light in this world than dark. Or it may be an equal balance at the end. Who knows? With the length of days and stuff. So, yeah. So, l'unique maladie is really to not face the obvious truth.
Right. Yeah, this is a great epilogue. And just like we were talking about earlier, I mean, this touches on a lot of things. But, you know, the fact that, I mean, I think it's something that many people, as they come into a place of awakening and things like that, it's kind of like, okay, so the education wasn't here, right? And so like P's talking about, if people just practice speaking what is as is, all diseases are sure to disappear. So the thing is that we have to learn what that is. And even though as we learn it, it seems very obvious and it seems very simple, and we can perceive, oh yes, that's true, that each being can only control themselves and their own actions. That's like a pure principle. You know, I can't control what you do. I can't control your free will, and neither can you control mine or anyone else's, right? And that goes for all beings. And that's just one example, right, of these kind of things that as we learn these kind of truths and pure principles, and we can repeat those kind of things, it helps us to have the proper perspective. So we're not trying to force anyone to do anything, because that will never actually be, you know, like you can't force anyone to see the truth. They actually have to be open to it to see it for themselves, you know. And so that's just one example, right? Like, so when P is saying, if we practice speaking what is as is, like we have to actually be open to learning what those truths are. And we can find out. It's not an impossible task, because the truth is becoming, everything is coming to the surface, like P talks about. You know, this is we're in the dawn of a new age in which actually truths are starting to come out about the facts and the reality of who we are and where we are and what life is about. So
I
yeah,
think I wanted to say something, but
yeah, yeah.
I'm good. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I wait. I don't interrupt no more. I wait. I keep my thoughts. You see? So to learn, you were talking about learning,
Right.
but to learn, we should have parents also that teach us. Like if I'm sorry, I might hurt some people, but truth hurts, and I'm not here to be liked. So if you don't like me, go away. It's
Right,
not my purpose to be like here. I
right,
don't come on this earth to work for you. I work for the divine. I'm on the divine payroll. That's where
right.
I am. But to learn, we have to have parents that shows us. If because the first one that come and raise us, and they really raise RAISZE, they raise, they totally they cut the grass under our feet. It's our parents. So
Mhm.
if we have in the first place, and I'm not blaming my parents directly, but I should have learned all that stuff before the age of 40 years old.
Right,
Okay,
right.
I should have known. I should have known coming in this world, like everyone should be enlightened at start. Like we shouldn't be in that, but maybe it's a purpose to be in the dark, to find the light. But all this is very weird to say that we should live in the dark because we come on earth to live in the dark. Like, what is that?
Right.
Like we should live in the light from the start. Everything should be just like freaking light paradise on earth, but we have turned this into a dark hell with our thoughts, with our action, with our. So I think in the first place, if the parents come and teach the children, if the parents wakes up, the parents like break the cycle of the family and start teaching factual truths to their children,
Yeah.
maybe this world will evolve in a better direction eventually. But
Yeah.
it starts with the parents showing the child. You have children, you make children for what? Just to put them on Fruit Loops? Like that's your goal in life? I know you want to educate your children. So the first thing is we're lost at start there is we have children making children
Yeah.
and
Right.
really not showing anything to their child valuable of knowing. I'm not talking the nonsense. I'm not going to elaborate on the nonsense because it's all nonsense. It's not worth it. But something valuable to the child that can make this child evolve, you evolve, and this world evolve. If you have those, that holy trinity together, you evolve, the world evolve, and the child evolve. This is pure love.
Yeah.
Pure love.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that can stop evolving. We are evolving. You should now there's people creating, like I find product online that are more healthy, like people really focus on more healthy stuff in the food. We're getting there. We're not it, we're getting to the age of Aquarius also, or we're in it, or whatever the
Right.
age we're in. I don't know nothing about astrology. I'm on Earth. That's very far fetched to me. I have never studied it. I just look at the stars, and to me, it's overwhelming enough as it is that I don't dig deep in this. Not
It's big.
now.
It's big.
Maybe 60, 70-year old, maybe I'll get there.
Yeah.
But I have too much factual truths to face and stuff to wonder about here on Earth. Just a blade of grass is a mystery. So imagine the rest. Like looking in the eyes of my dog, it's like, hey, what's going on there? What's behind those eyes?
Uh,
So, like, there's so much stuff, but if we don't, like I said, teach our children from a very young age, I see parents doing good with their children. I see children playing piano at 5 year old. Like this is amazing. Learning skills so young, and but we
yeah.
should all be dedicated to that. When the purpose of having a child is to educate that child.
Yeah.
But now, parents of this world, including me, I made children I didn't even know why, just to fall in line with others, just
Right.
to follow the other muggles that was having kids and this and that. when the real purpose of that, because you're having kid, you're not having a child.
Yeah, they don't become a child until they can start learning evolution and actual proper living. Then that's the real child. The kid, right, is the brat that goes along with the Fruit Loops and everything, right?
Exact. And if we don't teach those little children something valuable, they will pick up what this world has to offer. And trust me, it's freaking dark.
Yeah.
So it's up to us parents also to take our responsibility as parents and face truth and stuff, and so our children can evolve. Because if not, don't tell me you love your children if you put them on Fruit Loops and TV. That's not love. You want them to devolve. Okay, you might not take the conscious choice. Oh, I want you to devolve. You're not saying that to your kid,
Right.
but the action you take are for their devolution, not evolution. You cannot tell me a child will evolve watching TV.
Right. I know.
Unless it's something good, maybe some cooking show or whatever. But even that, most of
And
the
another
time,
truth that we have to hold in place too is that even though, like, so it is our responsibility for us to learn the life of the evolving path and implement that for ourselves, teach it to our kids, but at the same time, no, like, they don't have to listen. It's still like we can show people everything, but in the end, each individual's choice is up to them. But the fact that we at least showed them, hey, that this is an option. This is the.
You're gonna have a hard time showing a 40-year-old man the truth and the facts and the stuff of this world. But a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5, 6, their brain is a
It's a much more
sponge.
fertile time,
Much
right?
more fertile imagination, and they're more present and stuff than adults. They don't have preoccupation of paying bills and shit. They are in the moment, the child. So if you are showing them, I've done it with my niece. I've told her all kinds of stuff when she was
Yeah.
young, because I knew she could absorb it, and I know it's in her brain. So you know, so I think that's our role, is that they hear our voice, and the voice of truth and fact, not the voice of lies and Santa Claus and a church and all that these places, because we destroy our children before the government does with
Yeah.
Fruit Loops, church, and Jesus, and name it, and whatever fable story you bring along
Right.
to fit the paradigm of this world. Well, your children will fall for it if you don't break the cycle. So, what's the purpose of having a child? I've done a show with PT on this. I think it's really to make them evolve. Make them evolve. And also, why do we make children? Maybe to remember us how we were when we were young. You know, maybe we have forgotten how we were. So, I often wonder why? Because I haven't took the decision to have children. Like, I never took a conscious decision. Say, "Oh, I want to have." No, it just happened.
Right.
Yeah, it just happened. I'm very fertile, and I have no issues with
Yeah.
that. So it just
Right.
happened. So I had to deal with it. 24-year-old was my first one, but it's now I wonder: should we have children later in our life, or we should have them young?
Well, and or should you have them at all?
Or
If
should
you
you
got,
have them at all?
you
Yes,
know,
I think we should. I think today, uh, I don't know. I'm divided on that topic, but I think it's really to they come and teach us something. Probably your biggest cosmic teacher of all time will be your children. They
yeah,
will teach you how to have patience,
teach
how
you a
to
lot.
live for others, how to they will teach you so much. Sometimes I'm struggling trying to find uh, the reason why we do it.
Right.
Like, and I'm honest here. I'm not dishonest. I have those perpetual questions, but I think if you see it from the proper perspective of truth and facts, you will not wonder so much why you've made children. But if you put your children on Fruit Loops and TV, yes, you will wonder probably why you made children in this world, because all they do is watch TV and eat Fruit Loops. So what
Yeah.
the fuck is going on here?
Right.
So
Yeah, and I think it's
or
probably
my language.
could benefit the world if people just step back for a little while and be like, before the children, you have to get yourself really sorted, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, there's no telling like how things are going to move forward with like people, because it's all up to each one of us what we decide to do.
Exactly.
And it seems like a more of a proper scenario in which a child can be raised in a proper way, actually, like supported with the proper kind of things, is to have a community and people there who can you know, provide the proper education, the proper examples, you know, because the thing is, like, even though you can show the child the truth, like the examples are so few of what real purposeful living is, that they, you know, it's hard for them to.
You know, just a child, instead of giving them plastic toys inside a house, why don't you bring them outside, play with dirt and frogs and stuff that
Much more
crawls
natural way
outside,
of being.
every kind of bugs or whatever.
Right.
Like, no, they don't. That's the denurture state that we're in, is we're as closed and in the dark, and then we put our children inside and make them devolve constantly.
Yeah.
So it's time to put an end to this, Frank.
Yes.
Large up
It's been a
for
good one.
today once again. Very great reasoning with you, as always. And we
Likewise.
will be here now. Let me know what.
Yeah, next week it should work out. We'll either do Sunday or Monday, because I'll be traveling still. My current situation is I'm kind of roaming a little bit.
Frank had a hurricane passing through his house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Helene came in.
Helene.
Yeah, really came in and whopped the Appalachian Mountains hard. So at this point, I'm kind of I'm taking shelter at different families' homes and stuff. So I think I'll be at my parents' house next week, and that we'll do the show from there. So
no problemo. I'm always here, ready to rock, and you're ready to roll. So
yes.
Okay, we're out. Large up, everyone. Have a wonderful, amazing, magical day.
Yeah.
Boom.
Much love to everyone.
Much
Positivity.
Love.